Say hello, Mom!
Hello.
So, I am joined here with my special guest, my mother. Can you tell us about your experience in writing, first of all?
I really love how the stories are formed.
Mhm.
How something somebody says, or something somebody does, or you see something, and then suddenly there's a story starting in your head.
Yeah. You have been writing for how long?
Wow. Oh, 20 years.
20 years! So, you'd say you're rather professional at this topic?
Well, yes, although I've mainly just done it for fun because I was interrupted in the middle of writing because somebody came along and
Oh.
I got distracted.
I have a feeling it's targeted.
Yes, it's you. It was you.
Okay.
But then also, I want to flash forward to our stories that we used to do when we would homeschool.
Yeah, because we used to do a lot of creative writing projects.
Yes.
Like a lot of short stories with writing prompts.
Yes, which is funny because I never really did writing prompts before. When I was with my writers group, I always said, no, the stories just come to me. It's very hard to do limited on a writing prompt.
You have to follow it.
I actually enjoyed it.
However, there is a big difference between writing short stories to longer projects, which is what most people in the Gacha community work on. So, what is your opinion on writing characters?
First of all, I'll talk about there is a big difference between short stories and novels. In novels, you have a long time you can do characters, character development, where a short story, you gotta hook them within the first sentence. So your story has to be tight and you gotta impact. And your character has to be out there. Your character has to be strong, whatever that character is. The main character is the one that must drive the story. But you also have a whole cast of supporting characters.
Do you think that in writing novels versus short stories, in a way that could sort of relate to the Gacha community of mini movies versus long form series? Because mini movies, you only have 15 to 20 minutes of screen time, while in series, you can have as long as you want.
Yeah, it's very much like short story versus novel. And I think if you can do it, people want to, what is that character gonna do, you know? It's a lot harder.
So we'll make this more of like a short story thing. So in writing a mini movie, what do you want your main protagonist to act like?
The main character, while they are strong, they have to be flawed. You can't have bust through the doors and kill all the bad guys in the first scene. What else is there to put in the miniseries? You want your character to be flawed and overcome obstacles and learn from the overcoming of those obstacles to make them the hero.
Most of the time in Gacha stories, the most popular genre of writing is a romance. So how are you supposed to add the character flaws into a romance series?
You want to give the love interest little quirks, that make them more interesting. And that's really where observing people around you, really become observant of people and their behavior, how they act, how they move. Are these little quirks that you could work into your character? Really study the people around you.
How do you say that the flaws and interactions between the main characters happen? Because in a romance, there's two main characters.
Well, that's where you have to have something happen to make the character's view or change inside happen. And that's where you could use a supporting character or some crisis and how your character rises above it. Say he's going out on a date with his love interest. He had his perfect outfit, but he has a cat, and the cat got into the outfit and shredded it, as cats will do. What is he going to do? He's going to have to throw on a pair of jeans, so he can go through all that agonizingness and then put on those pair of jeans, that nice shirt, and go out and tell his love interest, this is how I am. And it's about how he overcomes crises.
Okay, so we can have many different sort of crises in a story, which will help the characters grow.
Yes, and also keeps people's interest.
So, what's your opinion on the biggest sort of crisis that is used in Gacha series, misunderstandings?
Well, that happens a lot in real life too.
Yeah.
And that's just one thing, communication. You mess up the communication with them. Maybe they're at a loud party and someone says something, but they're really talking about something else, but another character overhears something, thinks that this is what it says, runs to the main character, and then you've got drama. And then your main character has to overcome that drama.
Oh, one of the biggest ones in Gacha stories is where character A is talking with character C, and character B sees this and thinks that character A is cheating on them.
Well, that's an old trope that happens a lot. You're following the same formula, but you want to make it different.
Yeah.
How can you make that scene different? So you really want to think about that scene when you're doing your screenshots. You also want to keep in mind, how can I make this interesting and different?
So now we are moving on to side characters.
Yay, my favorite.
Oh yeah?
I love side characters because with one sentence, the side characters propel the story. Like we were using the party scene earlier with characters.
With character
and
C.
how the one character overheard and then ran to main character. And of course, it was totally what they were not talking about at all. But because she only overheard parts of it, there's your misdirection. So in that case is a case of a side character causing the main character to have to go through hoops to get what the main character wanted.
So in Gacha series and mini movies, the side characters are probably some of the most important characters.
Yes. However, I have found that you cannot force a character into a story because, you just can't force the stories. They have to seem to flow, especially for the viewer. They're going to wonder, where did this character come from? Like my dragon story. What caused the little brother dragon to go and kidnap the human so she could babysit the little brother of the dragon? It was the villagers. Because they refused to watch the dragon anymore because he kept misusing magic.
Yeah.
And so, but there was a faceless mob. We never meet any of the villagers in the story.
No.
We never see any of the villagers in the story. But they're the ones that cause the brother to go and kidnap the human woman.
But in Gacha series, that would be known as the background characters, where you can use the characters to further the plot as well, like having them react to things and other stuff, because in the end, they're all also people. And now on to the part that my mother is the most excited to talk about, world building! So, Mom, how are you supposed to world build?
I would just write down a whole world and set it beside you and have it for reference when you're doing your characters. All of that information you can write down and then refer to it as you make your characters.
Yeah.
Or you could even have your characters comment on your world building. In your community, I would use my words more. So you can sketch out the barest outline of a background, but then have your characters tell the viewer where they're at.
When you're showing your world building, especially during conversations, it has to be like a normal flowing conversation. No one's just going to randomly info dump on someone who has the same amount of knowledge that they do.
And you don't want to do a bunch of dumping. You want to draw it out as long as you can, but not too long that your viewers are going, oh my, are they ever gonna get to the point? You don't want to be like that.
Thank you, Mom, for being here.
You are very welcome. I'm so glad you had me come, and I can't wait to come back again.
Goodbye, everyone. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Bye-bye.
Happy writing.